Good morning, folks. It's Sunday morning, 5 a.m. and I'm down at the beach here in Ambleside, and for the first of my month of trying to do the grounding and the cold plunges and everything. It's 5:15, so it's very, very early, and I'm still a little bit deriveer, as they say in Afrikaans. Still busy waking up, but I'm here. I made it. I've got my feet in the sand, so I'm doing the grounding. That's great, and I'm talking to you while I'm doing that. It turns out that one of the hardest things is probably going to be the first rays of the sun, because it being Vancouver, it's all cloudy and overcast. It's actually, weirdly enough, not too cold. I mean, I wonder what the temperature is. Let's have a quick look. Vancouver temperature 12 degrees Celsius. Yeah, so it's 12 degrees out. It's actually not very cold. It's fairly decent. Can you imagine if I was back in South Africa, I would say it's 12 degrees out. It's damn freezing. But here we are, getting used to it, I suppose. And it is beautiful out here. I mean, just have a quick squiz. It looks a lot lighter on the camera than it actually is, but check it out. You got all the boats lying over in the water there. The ocean is almost like a mirror. It's just flat, stunning. Anyway, I must say, I think it's a beautiful way to start a morning. Really, honestly, there's nobody else on the beach. It's quiet. You got the gulls and the birds cawing and going on, and the water softly going ksh, ksh. Beautiful time of the day. So another interesting thing I was thinking about yesterday is, or looking at yesterday is, we've got general elections coming up in British Columbia. Let me put you over there a little bit. We got general elections coming up in British Columbia in October, and it's actually quite an interesting twist. So British Columbia has always lately been the domain of the NDP, which is a very strong Liberal party. And they just kind of overran it. And I was watching some news and articles yesterday morning where they were talking about what's happening in politics, and it's quite interesting. The guy was saying in the polls, as not as long ago as 3-4 months ago, the NDP was like the the overall leader, the clear leader. They were far ahead of anybody else. And now there's the new, well, not the new party, but the BC Conservative Party. And it's suddenly gaining a whole lot of support. So much so that they're polling level with the NDP at the moment. And that's mainly based on a couple of things. Things that the people in British Columbia don't like. And they were talking about 3 main things that, like, the Oaks are just like sick and tired of. The first one is the carbon tax. I mean, so many people are so sick and tired of the carbon tax. The leader of the BC Conservatives, I can't remember what his name is. He used to actually be an NDP, as far as I understand it. They were saying what happened was he was a representative of some riding. That's what they call them over here, district, a riding. And there's 93 ridings in British Columbia. And he was the representative of one of the farming ridings. And he had an issue with, obviously he's riding, the farmers are the ones that are getting hit hard by the carbon tax. It's a lot of extra costs. So the farmers that voted for him were complaining about the carbon tax. And he tried to go up the system to speak to his structures and say, hey, can we do something about the carbon tax for the farmers? And they didn't want to do it, and they just told him to shut up and stay in line and do what the party says. And then he went out and he retweeted somebody that there was some tweet about the carbon tax being bad for farmers or something, and he retweeted it, and he all got called up and told to delete his tweet or remove his tweet because it goes against what the party stands for, and he didn't do that. So within 5 days they fired him, and he then decided to join the BC Conservatives, and he became the leader very quickly there, because the BC Conservatives wasn't much of a party at the stage. No, I mean, that's also a story told by a politician, so how much of it's true or actually true, we don't know. But anyway, it's a good story. So basically, you know, he's standing for they need to get rid of the carbon tax, because remember, the carbon tax, there's the federal one, but from what he was saying, from what one of the guys was saying, is it almost seems like there's like a BC carbon tax as well, and that BC has a different one, and David Eby increased some of the local carbon tax, so BC pays more. I don't know, I haven't gone into that, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyway, so that's one of the first things that they are saying, that they will go against the carbon tax and they will fight to have it removed, because as the guy clearly said, he said, you know what, if all of the residents of British Columbia completely stopped using fossil fuels and completely stopped pumping carbon into the air, and we took all of their money as a tax, and we spend all of that money on cleaning the atmosphere, we will have zero effect, because British Columbia and the people of British Columbia is a tiniest fraction of all the people on the globe. And unless everybody stops doing it, it's not going to make a difference. It was interesting, his take on the whole carbon thing. He was saying, or the global warming thing, or the climate change thing, and it's something that I've said for a long time, but you know, now he's saying it as a major politician. I heard a piece where he was interviewed on the radio, and they said to him, so do you deny that there's climate change? And he's like, no, I don't deny that there's climate change. The climate's changing, we can see it clearly everywhere. But also remember that for the 4.5 billion years or 2,000 years or however long you believe this earth existed, the climate has changed. That's just the way it is. The climate changes constantly. Do I believe that humans are accelerating climate change? Yes, we are putting stuff into the atmosphere that's accelerating climate change. Do I believe we can stop climate change? No, we can't stop climate change. The climate is busy changing. It's in play. It's happening. And what this guy was saying is, he says what we should do is we should spend the money on figuring out how to adapt to climate change. So what do we need to do to keep us safe and to keep the earth safer from not stop climate change? How do we adapt to climate change? Now that is a very sensible point of view, in my opinion. Anyway, that's not what we were talking about. So anyway, the first thing that he said that most people are sick and tired of is the whole climate crisis conversation and the taxes and everything. The dude was saying that we have something like over 2,000 different taxes in Canada. He says it's like so crazy. So one of his election promises also in BC is to simplify the taxes. Like why do we need 2,000 different taxes? Number one, it costs so much to administrate them that you almost have to have some taxes just to pay for the administration of 2,000 different taxes. So yeah, he's going to do the tax reform, work against the whole climate change thing. The second major thing that he says people are sick and tired of in British Columbia is this, the drug policies that the current NDP government has. You know, they've gone and decriminalized a whole bunch of drugs, and they do the whole safe drug thing and giving free drugs and like all of that stuff. They've got this whole policy. And apparently most people are sick and tired of it. You know, it's all fine and well if somebody wants to do drugs, but it's not cool if he wants to do it in front of your house or in front of your school. I mean, even the NDP is starting to walk it back now. They said that, you know, at first it was like, no, there's no problem, you can do whatever you want. Now they're looking at, hey, guy with a loud car. Now they're looking at, again, reinstating it so that it's illegal to do drugs close to schools, and it's illegal to do drugs close to, I don't know what all. So people don't like that. I mean, I wouldn't like it if some druggie is lying in front of my house. I mean, that's just not cool. He's got the right to do drugs, but I also have the right to live a clean life and not be affected by those things. So apparently that's the second one that's really big. A lot of people are sick and tired of this free drugs for all, do whatever you like policies. And then, of course, he was mentioning, one other guy was mentioning an interesting thing. He said, well, ever since they started this whole safe drug policy, and here in BC they actually have specialized medical teams, emergency medical teams that walk around and cruise around town to deal specifically with drug overdoses. So these guys go out, and as soon as there's a drug overdose there on the streets, they go and do the Narcan and save the person's life. And the guy was saying, and it's been a huge success statistically. The guy was saying that statistically, I can't remember the exact numbers, but now only 1 in 8 overdoses results in a death, because, you know, they're saving a lot of people's lives. Ever since they started it, it's helped a lot. So a lot less overdoses result in death. He says, but the other statistic that they don't actually give you is the fact that even though a lot less overdoses result in death, the number of overdoses have shot up dramatically. So there's a lot more people that OD ever since they put this in place. And the simple explanation is that the guy that overdoses and his life gets saved, he likely is going to overdose again in the near future, and again and again and again. It is horrible, it is sad, I don't know what the solution is to that, but it is what it is, you know. The average guy that overdoses will overdose again. There's a lot more of it going around. So even though the number of deaths per overdoses have gone down, the overall number of drug deaths haven't really gone down that much. It's an interesting concept. But anyway, back to the basics. I mean, this other guy I was listening to, he was speaking about how he goes house to house to speak to people about their politics and everything, and he's like, everyone from the 90-year-old Chinese lady to the 20-year-old living in an apartment, everybody's going, man, this is getting a little bit out of hand. We need to bring back penalties, and we need to start dealing with the drug problem. So that's the second big one. And then the third one is the gender theory thing. That's also starting to get people riled up. You know, the average people are starting to go, well, hang on a second, man, this is just ridiculous. So they asked this leader, what does he think about the gender theory? And he's like, well, you know, he doesn't have a problem with that. It's everybody's right to identify or be whoever they want. It's fine. But as a normal man or a normal woman, you also still have rights. So you can identify as whoever you want, and you have the right to do that, but you don't have the right to encroach on the rights of a normal woman. So if you're a man, you can identify as a woman, But then you are a man that identifies as a woman. You are not a woman, so you can't go and compete in women's sports. You can compete in sport with other men who identify as women. That's all good, you know, that kind of thing. And I think there's a lot of people that are feeling very strongly about it. You know, it's starting to get a little bit out of hand. There's, for instance, in Barrie, Ontario, there's a 51-year-old male college professor that identifies as a 16-year-old girl. I mean, just listen to that sentence and say it to yourself. A 51-year-old male college professor that identifies as a 16-year-old girl. And he is competing with the 16-year-old girls in swimming competitions, in actual official Swim Canada swim competitions. You've got a 51-year-old dude, there's 6 or 7 girls standing ready to kick off, and then this 51-year-old dude standing there, and he is a 16-year-old girl according to Swim Canada, so he swims with the 16-year-old girls. But that's not all. He uses the same dressing rooms as them. So when they've done swimming, he goes down with them to the dressing room where they change out of their little costumes and into their clothes and take their showers and stuff. I mean, I'm sorry. The logic there is just completely lost on me. I just don't get it. Dude's not very good at swimming. It's not like he's beating the girls at all. They beat him, but still. This is just, it's absurd. I mean, as a parent, if my daughter was on that swim team, they would know, the 51-year-old dude can identify as a Martian. He's not going to go in the shower with my daughter. It's just not going to happen. But anyway. So that's the other thing that people are also starting to push back against. You know, I think what happens in the world is that, let's face it, most people don't act. Most people don't say anything. They just want to keep the peace. They just want everything to be fine and everybody to be happy and everything to be good. That's how we are. Most people try and avoid conflict. And then you have these little fringe groups of people that have these wild ideas and are very loud, and they actually almost invite conflict. They are very aggressive, they are fighting about it. And I'm not talking only, it's across the board, from the left, from the right, whether it's people believing in giant conspiracy theories, or the gender crowd, or the green crowd, or the whatever. You know, you always have these fringe groups of people. And what makes them stand out is the fact that they're very loud, they're very aggressive, and they just, like, you know, it's almost a case if anybody just says anything that they don't believe, it's just like, what, and it's all over social media, and they attack you, and all the other people are just like, oh shit, I don't want to get into that, so I'm just going to, like, whatever, you know, let them go. They're a little fringe organization. And what happens is that it creates this idea that people believe the same as them. But eventually people have to, you know, eventually normal people go, oh, hang on a second, now it's getting a little bit over the top, now it's getting a little bit too much. You know, the pendulum starts swinging back, and I think we're starting to enter that stage now in Canada where people are going, well, you know, we went along with all of this because we didn't want to, like, argue too much, and we didn't want to, we wanted to avoid conflict and whatever, but now, you know, the conflict is in our house, so it's like no avoiding it anymore. We need to start acting. I remember many years ago, when we lived in South Africa, I lived in Paulshof, and after we had a serious security incident where some guys held up Belinda and the kids at gunpoint, I got very involved with the local community, with the security community and of our local area, and the local, what do they call it, council for the area, so the citizens council that helped to decide. We installed security systems and everything. And right behind our house, there was a road reserve for a big road, like a double lane road in both ways. A road reserve. So this road was planned like, I don't know, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And they laid out the road and they laid out the stands, and people built the stands, but they never built the road. So it's just this big green strip going through the area. And there were some new developers that came and they wanted to build a development, and part of it was that they would then complete this road because it would create a big artery. I would have loved the road because it would it would take my commute down from an hour to like 10 minutes, because it's this big beautiful road that runs exactly to where I was working. Anyway, so they came out and they said, hey, we're going to now build this road. 40, 50 years ago, this road was planned. It's still on the maps as a road reserve, so it's meant to be a road at some day, and now we are going to build this road. So we'll ask the community what they think. I think we had our community had like 40,000 people living in it or something like that. 40, 34, somewhere around there. A lot of people in the community. And they had an open day where people could come and say what they want. So at this open day, there was like 300 people that arrived that said they don't want the road. They don't want this road because for various reasons. One of the main reasons was over the years on this road reserve, there was a little nature reserve, a little nature place on a little hill there that saved wildlife. So if you found an injured bird or something, you would take them there and they would rehabilitate them. Now they were on the hill, but because the road reserve was at the bottom of the hill, they used one portion of where the road would be for their little wildlife reserve. They got rights to use it. So one of the main complaints was that if the road now gets built, the little nature reserve would lose that corner of the land that they've been using. So about 300 people rocked up and said, no, we don't want this road, and they complained about the road. And I think about 150, 140 people rocked up and said, shit, we love this idea of the road, we want the road. It's not exact numbers, but it's roughly. And we were sitting in the Balls of Community Council meeting the next week, and they said, they tabled the thing and said, hey, as a community council, we should now, have an official stance on this road. So because more people are against the road than for the road, we should come out as the community council against the road, and we should lodge a formal thing and say that we don't agree with building the road because our people have spoken. And I got up and I said, but hang on a second, what do you mean your people have spoken? What do you mean our people have spoken? We have 35,000 people. We put the word out for everybody to come and say what they want. 300 came and said they don't want the road. 150 came and said they want the road. And 1,650 or whatever didn't even bother to come out. So they couldn't care less whether the road is built or not. To them, it's just like whatever. So if we really want to represent the community, then we should just be like, well, whatever. We leave it in the hands of the powers that be. If they build the road, they build the road. And if they don't, they don't. Because at the end of the day, that's what the people said. Just because 300 people said they don't like the road doesn't mean that the community doesn't want the road. I'm pretty sure if you went around to everybody's house and you said, hey, do you want the road or not? Most people would have been, yeah, let's do the road because it'll make my life easier. But they just didn't care enough to bother to go out on a Saturday morning to go and vote about the thing. And I think that's pretty much what happens mostly in the world. Well, I know. That's how it goes. You always have people that don't care enough, or it's not directly impacting them, so they don't really care enough. So democracy is very flawed in that way. We have the fringe people that care a lot, that actually dictate direction of politics, you know. We have the 300 people that don't like the road, that stops the road from being built, which would have definitely been a benefit to the whole 30,000 people. But because the 30,000 people, you know, they didn't think about it, and they didn't want conflict, and they didn't want to bother to get up early on a Saturday morning to go and vote, they lose out. So yeah, democracy is not a perfect system, I can tell you that much. But anyway, I think back to the point, I think back over here in Canada, more and more people are now starting to go, no, hang on a second, now you oaks are taking it a little bit too far. You are now infringing a little bit too much on our normal day-to-day life. We're starting to feel it. We know we have drug addicts lying in front of our kids' school, or we have drug addicts lying in front of our house. I mean, our kids in school right now, they get their reports. It's mind-blowing, you know. There's been such an outcry and such a story about this whole they, them, which is, for those that don't know, those are people that identify not as male or female, they identify as plural or something. Look, I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what it means, but anyway. So all our kids' school reports for the last year now, they address the kids as they and them. They're not like, Connor is a good guy, he does this and he does that. No, they don't say that anymore in the school report. It's now, Connor is a good kid, they do this, they do that, we like having them in our class. So they use those pronouns now for all the kids, purely because I suppose the poor teachers also, you know, if they call a boy a girl, or a girl a boy because they look like a boy or a girl, and they get it wrong, they get like an enormous amount of flack. So they just default to the whole they, them thing. It's a little nuts. It is, I've got to tell you that much. But anyway, yeah, so I think people are starting to people just had enough, you know. And of course, affordability. Things are getting very expensive in Canada, and people are starting to suffer, and they look at it and they go, hang on a second, a large part of my spending is not on my own stuff, a large part of my spending is on taxes. I'm paying a crap load of taxes, and I'm not seeing what I'm getting for it, you know. So we'll see how it goes in this October election for the local government. But it's been the numbers, I can't verify it, I mean it's just numbers that I heard online, but they were saying that the numbers in the beginning of the year, the NDP had something like 60 or whatever, a very high, more than 50% of the vote in polling, and the BC Conservative Party was like in the single digits. Currently they are polling both equal at around 38 or 40%. So in other words, in the last 3 months, the support for the BC Conservative Party have shot up like tremendously. They were actually saying it was also, so we had human nature. So they were saying it's also about human nature, how we operate. We, you know, people are like sheep. They follow the group. So the NDP was always the leader. So a lot of undecided people without strong feelings, when they were polled, or if they have to go, and those are normally people that wouldn't go vote anyway, but if they asked, who do you support, they just go NDP, because it's kind of the standard answer. Everybody says NDP, you know, it's the NDP. But they say that they have a strong feeling that now a lot of people are going, no, Conservative Party. And it actually makes a big difference, because the thing is, like I said, the guys that says NDP, they say NDP because a lot of them say NDP because they've always said NDP. It's just who they are. But they are probably not the guys that are going to go out there and bother to go and vote, because, you know, they're just the 30,000 people that sat at home that's not going to wake up early. Whereas the people that have now changed to BC Conservative, these are people that went and actually started thinking about it and went like, wait a minute, hang on a second, this is getting a little too much. We need to start, we need to do something. So it's going to be very interesting, because it's going to be a good example of what's going to happen in the federal elections next year. I mean, also the polls have got Pierre Poilievre going way ahead of Justin Trudeau. And nobody likes Trudeau's policies anymore. Anyway, so here we are. It looks a lot lighter on camera than it is actually out here. It's still kind of pretty dark out here. It's beautiful. Anyway, so I'm going to do my little breathing exercises. I'm going to say cheers. I'm going to do my little breathing exercises, and then I'm going to go head on into the water over there. What I'll do is I'll turn you around and you can look at the ocean for those of you that want to. It's beautiful out here.
Hi guys, welcome. This is a guided reading session. Relax to the deepest. Lie down, sit down, whatever it takes, relax. Are you ready? Here we go. Round number 1. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Just go with the flow of the breath. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, into the belly, into the chest, and let go, like a wave. Make it circular. Fully in and letting go. Just keep on going. No pause between inhalation and exhalation. Ten more. Fully in, let it go. Five more. Let's give it all we got. Last one. Fully in and let go. All right. 1 minute breath hold from now on. Be in this moment. Let the body do what the body is capable of doing. Be aware of your heartbeat. Slow it down and just be in this moment. Let that relaxation spread down to your toes, into your fingertips, to the base of your neck and head. You are almost there. Do you want to prolong your breath hold? Pause the video now and continue when you feel the urge to breathe. Okay, recovery breath in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in and hold for 15 seconds. Exhale in 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Round number 2. Back into that rhythm. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Into the belly, into the chest, and let go. Like a wave. Make it circular. Fully in and letting go. Just keep on going. No pause between inhalation and exhalation. In with peace, out with stress. 10 more. Fully in, let it go. Nice, deep, circular breaths. 5 more. Let's give it all we got. Last one. Fully in. And on the exhale, stop. 1.5 minute breath hold from now on. Feel, become aware of your body. If your hands and feet are tingling, or you feel your body temperature is changing, that's okay. You're doing fantastic. If you need to breathe before I give the cue, that's okay. You are almost there. Do you want to prolong your breath hold? Pause the video now and continue when you feel the urge to breathe. When you're ready, fully in and hold for 15 seconds. Exhale in 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Round number 3. Back into that rhythm. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. In with the relaxation, out with the stress. In, out. In, out. In, out. Into the belly, into the chest, and let go. Like a wave. Make it circular. Fully in and letting go. Just keep on going. No pause between inhalation and exhalation. In with peace, out with stress. Ten more. Fully in, let it go. Nice, deep, circular breaths. Five more. Let's give it all we got. Last one. Fully in. And on the exhale, stop. 1.5 minute breath hold from now on. Become aware of the blood running through your veins, your heart beating. Feel. Thirty seconds left. You are almost there. Do you want to prolong your breath hold? Pause the video now and continue when you feel the urge to breathe. All right. Breathe in and hold for 15 seconds. Exhale in 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Let your breathing return to normal as you finish up the round. Move your body bit by bit, starting with your fingers and your toes. Let your breathing normalize. If you liked this guided breathing session, we got
Okay, so there we have it, our guided breathing session done, and the second cruise ship coming through. It's beautiful and peaceful out here. So there we go. We did our grounding, had our feet in the sand for half an hour. We did our guided breathing, we chatted to you a bit. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get sunlight this morning because it's very cloudy. And now the last thing to do before going to drink some mineral water is to go into the ocean and do the cold dip, cold plunge for like 3 minutes. So let me get on to that. Alright, this is not for sissies. It is freezing cold. It feels like everything is burning, and I've kind of lost feeling in my fingers, although it's starting to come back now. Then again, I forgot to take a towel, so I don't have a towel. But anyway, done it. I hope it was 3 minutes. I believe I made the 3-minute mark. So I'm going to sign off and go home. Cheers. Goodness gracious, it is freezing. But it's starting to return to normal, slowly but certainly. It's burning everywhere. Alright folks, you all have a good one. Cheers.